Hi, morning folks. Bob here again, publishing with an unnatural frequency for a reason I'll tell you why. I'm publishing without Ramon and I'll tell you why as well. First, just a couple of housekeeping notes. An apology for the videos that are currently going up of our friend David's collection of ESs and SGs. Halfway through the edit, the memory card that we recorded onto broke. So we've lost all the audio from the sound card and we've lost all the video from Ramon's camera. We've still got the video from my iPad, that's that. So we're still putting the videos out, but the quality is going to be slightly less than you'd expect, but we will be publishing pretty regularly as before. So that's that. Second thing is the reason I'm publishing again so soon and without Ramon is because I'm very fortunate in having a situation here that I want to share for a few minutes. Some of you will know that I'm looking for an old Telecaster. It's the one guitar that I'm really missing. And I've had a number of my friends, I'm fortunate enough to have friends who own them, so I can get my hands on them now and again, borrow them and enjoy them. That's fantastic, get to know them. I've had one staying with me for a couple of weeks now, which is a really lovely guitar. It's had a few things done to it. Like most old tellies, there's some kind of backstory because these guitars have been heavily used. That's their charm. Of course, they've been heavily used because they're bloody fantastic guitars. But this one's had a few things done to it, but it's basically all, it's all original. The chassis is fantastic, and so on. And that one is this guy here, which you've seen in the last video, okay? But this is all old hat, because you know this already, because you've seen this guitar in a video previously. What's new? Well, the new news is I've got another. Wow. Now, just sitting here and looking at my image in the camera really gets me going, because to have one Blackguard in the house is pretty great. To have two Blackguards in the house, and of this quality, is more than double pretty great. It's a real honour and a privilege. So I'm going to put down the one that you've seen already and talk a little bit about the one that you haven't. This belongs to a friend of mine quite nearby, not far away, and my impression is that it's up for grabs, that it's for sale. It was in a dealer's display recently for a little while. It had a typical kind of current dealer's price tag on it, which was pretty fantastic. I mean, I know why the dealers do this. First of all, they're looking to get a decent margin for themselves. And secondly, they want to have something on the wall, a price that they can climb back from and make the buyer feel better about, squaring a deal. So I can understand it, but nevertheless, there is a very fine line between pricing something that makes it saleable and pricing something that just makes it. And certainly that was the case for me, because while I'm in the market for these things, I'm now on a fixed income. I haven't got money to splurge around on exotics like I used to. So my search for a telly will continue to find something that is kind of more of a player and less of a collector. This is a collector. Both these tellies are from 1952, which is a great time for tellies. Actually, any time up until about 53, early 54 is a great time for tellies, after which they transitioned into a slightly different guitar. The white guards came in. The main thing for me that changed earliest was the construction of the pickups. The magnets changed and they became, those Telecasters are sharper sounding, and that's what the Telecaster was really known for. I mean, I should say, I was joking with the current owner of this yesterday, and I was saying, when I was growing up as a kid, and even into my young adulthood, we just used to laugh at Telecasters. I mean, how wrong were we? But we just used to laugh at them because at the time they were kind of country and western. They didn't look really very cool, like a Strat, They didn't make the sound on the Beano album like a Les Paul Sunburst. And they were just a bit hokey, really. When the Country and Western Festival at Wembley always used to have lots of Telecaster players, and you used to go, good old boys, meh. And all the tellies I played back in that day, mainly from that CBS period, were not particularly great guitars either. Although, as you might know, I've got a 73, which seemed to get through the net and is quite a good one. It's a bit beaten, great gigging guitar, great sounding guitar, but again, that's had quite a lot of stuff done to it. Anyway, we used to laugh at Telecasters. How wrong were we? But to be fair, to this day, I still find the guitar up until about 1953 a completely different guitar to the ones after, which vary in price. I mean, the 54s, 55s through 65, 66 are very expensive guitars these days. And even the late 60s ones are going for like 7.5, 8, 9 grand. But for me, the Telecasters from the early period are just completely different. And it's mainly because of the combination of unbelievably singing, resonant, balanced wood and the magnetic composition of these pickups, which is, I think I'm right in saying it's Alnico 3, which has got a lot less cobalt in it than all the other Alnicos. Apparently that makes the sound a little sweeter. So while these are still pretty twangy, they have that kind of sweetness inside the twang, whereas the later Telecasters are a bit sharp, just more twang and more ice pick and a bit less richness. That's my opinion. I'm lucky to have played enough to be able to have an opinion. You may not share it. There you go. So this one from 52, late 52, I think. It's got the man's inscription on both the body and the end of the neck, Taddeo Gomez. Now remember, that means that he was the workshop supervisor, so it meant that he was in charge of the shift that day. He didn't necessarily make the guitar himself, just to clear up that bit of mythology. But checking this through against the Nacho Banos Blackguard book, I'll show a small close-up in a minute, it pretty much passes muster. It shows under black light beautifully, there's no exceptions. There's really not much wrong with this guitar, except for one thing, which isn't wrong at all, it's actually right. This guitar is, the electrics of Telly's changed over this time. The original Telecasters, and indeed broadcasters and no-casters, had a switch, a three-way switch. The first position near the neck was the same as this. Which, as you can hear, it sounds like I've got the tone control rolled back and then some. That's because it's got a capacitor across it, and it was meant either for playing jazz or more likely for actually doubling up on bass in the odd song back in the early 50s. Remember, this is the very, very early days of electric bass as well, so they're pretty rare. So this guitar has got that original position in position number 1. But unlike an earlier 52 that I've played on this show before, when you go to the next position, you're now going, as far as I can see, you're going to the bridge pickup. And then when you go to this position, you're going to the famous bridge pickup. Okay, so this is a slightly hybrid wiring on this guitar. It's a bit pre-52 and a bit post-52. It makes the first position completely useless to me, but what the hell, it does also make the guitar authentic and original. Everything else is right, knobs, screws, bits and pieces, buttons and stuff. I think the frets even may be original, which is extraordinary because almost every Telecaster you play these days has had a refret. And not surprisingly, because again, as I said at the head of this video, they've been used, because these guitars are begging to be played and used, not stuffed in vaults. These are real working men's tools, these guitars. You know, they're not glamorous or anything, but the finish on this is all right. You know, it's a knocked about, but still original. Butterscotch, lovely yellowing, still a bit of shine on it. The tuners are right, everything's right about it. So, just to say, this guitar, as I say, is probably available for sale if there are any real enthusiasts out there with quite fat wallets. But a private sale will always, it'll come out better than if you go through an intermediary, because an intermediary, I'm taking nothing for this, by the way. I might get a pint. That's it. Okay, that's the lot. Yeah, if anyone's interested, reply in the comments and I can connect you. I'm not going to put the gentleman's name up all over the internet. But there you go. That's this 52, and I might just play us out with the other 52, which has been with me for a couple of weeks, but is sadly going back to its rightful owner, entirely justifiably, in the next couple of days. I will really miss it, but I think it's a very good idea it goes back to its owner, because I'm getting too used to it. I'm not playing anything else And as I said, I think in the video before, I am coming to the conclusion that if, you know, I think first of all, as you get older, you appreciate what these guitars are and do much more as your playing matures a bit. But also, I'm beginning to think that if you said, okay, it's desert island time, you can take a guitar and an amp, I'd probably take one of these and late 50s Tweed Deluxe, probably. Of course, I wouldn't have an amp tech with me and I wouldn't have any mains electricity, but apart from that, you know what I mean. So, just a quick one to fill in some time between our next video coming up about some more ESs and SGs from David's collection. But I hope you enjoyed this brief one. I'm going to play us out with the other guitar. Just twang a little bit and fade it through. And you have a good week. Try and dodge all the English rain clouds, which look like they're stuck with us for at least another week. Oh, we need a summer holiday. And probably see you on Friday. Till next time, bye.